You going? Okay. Oh, stop it up. We're good, Mike.
Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Would you take a second, please, and turn off all electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joanna, call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
We have a presentation for the commissioners today. Maggie Day is here to give us a presentation about the proposed water park.
Do that first? So you want to sit down with that? Get that going?
Or do you represent?
I do.
I thought you just came to visit.
Just hanging out. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Chris Balinson for Maggie Day and Tom Tice. There's been a lot of discussion about a proposed water park or aqua park at the location of the former Sunset Bay or Sunset Bay Marina. Maggie and Tom have come to clear the air and give the Mayor and Commissioners some facts about what can be expected, what is proposed, and hopefully dispel some of the rumors about that you've heard. Maggie, Tom, at your leisure.
So Chris, just for the record, this is an informal presentation, correct?
Yes, Mr. President, it's an informal presentation, hopefully just to answer some questions about what can be anticipated, because lately it seems that the rumor mill has just gone crazy, not with this project, but with any number of projects. And Maggie and Tom actually thought this would be a good idea to hopefully help everybody out and answer some questions ahead of time so it doesn't get too out of hand.
There's not going to be a Marriott there.
There will be no Marriott at the foot of the boardwalk. Right. Go ahead, Mary.
I don't know whether to address this way or this way, maybe both.
No, you have to address
This way, okay, great.
We are self-important.
Great. Excuse my notes a little bit. And please excuse the rough pictures over here. I thought I had high definition pictures, but they didn't come out as wonderful as I thought. So good evening, Mayor Becker, Commissioners Amadeo and Bloomberg. I thank you all for the opportunity to be here and present our proposed project to you. First, I'm going to introduce myself and my partner. My name's Maggie Day. This is Tom Tice. We've both lived in Stone Harbor our whole lives. Like Margate, our town is very small. Actually, smaller than Margate, if you can believe that, and a barrier island. And also a tourist hotspot in the summer months. And we understand what it's like to grow up and live year-round in that lifestyle. Margate and Stone Harbor are unique compared to the rest of the world in the fact that we have two extreme and opposite seasons. One very, very busy summer season and one very peaceful and quiet winter season. We have a duty to the residents, but we also have a duty to the tourists, and we get that there has to be a healthy balance there. We respect our natural resources and the great power of the ocean and the tides. Tom and I have both been self-employed our entire adult lives in Stone Harbor. I own and operate a year-round baby and child boutique in our downtown shopping district that's called Nesting, and I've been there for about 9 years. I'm currently the president of the Stone Harbor Chamber of Commerce, and I've served on the executive board as secretary, vice president, and president for the past 8 years. I also am the vice president of the Stone Harbor School Board, and I serve as the liaison for the Avalon School Board, and I'm currently rerunning for my second term. Tom has 3 grown children, one 24 and 2 20-year-old twins, boy-girl twins, and I have 3 young children, 9, 6, and 3. Tom has been the owner and operator of Island Water Sports in Stone Harbor for the past 31 years. At Island Water Sports, they rent kayaks, paddle boards, wave runners. They charter out boats for water skiing and wakeboarding and such. The most recent addition to the business in the past 10 years or so has been the Aqua Park. It's a very successful addition. You can see that Tom and I both live, breathe, and live for our children and those in the community. It's what we do. It's what we do for a living, and it's what we love. And now that you know a little bit about us, I would like to get to why we are here today. The reason we're here today is for Island Water Park, Island Aqua Park, Margate. We wanted to show you the difference between a water park and an aqua park. These pictures are going to show you a little taste of what that is. That is not our exact setup. That's just off of a website to show you an idea of what one looks like. These are inflatables. They are not anything that is permanent. They're not permanent structures. They just float in the water. We have purchased 2 waterfront properties on Amherst Avenue, and we are hoping and planning to put the aqua park there. We will not be competing with any local businesses. We are not going to rent paddleboards or kayaks. We are not going to have wave runners or boats. Just aqua park. And again, that is inflatable features that kids can bounce, jump, climb, and play on. Good, clean, safe fun. The inflatables will be present from approximately June to early September. We are not proposing building any structures at all. That is correct, no buildings, no Marriotts. No overdeveloping of our and your beautiful waterfront properties. The other 9 months a year, the inflatables will be removed and the water will remain exactly as it is today, and actually better and cleaner with the removal of the marina. The current marina that is there now houses boats and wave runners that require gas and oil to operate and spill those harmful pollutants into the water. As a native and current resident in an island town just like yours and just a few miles to the south, we understand the importance of preserving our natural beauty. Our Chamber of Commerce, with myself as president, was a big supporter of Stone Harbor's most recent ordinance banning single-use plastics. I am a big proponent of keeping our waters clean. With that in mind, I'm going to list you what I have come up with as all of the wonderful positives of our aqua park. Number 1, it is going to be eco-friendly. It does not require any gas or oil to operate it. It does not pollute the waters or our estuaries. Number 2, it is business-friendly. Our location being Bayside, we will bring customers to this side of the island during the day, which is usually beach busy. Our operating hours will counterbalance the restaurant businesses that are mostly busy at night. We are proposing being open approximately 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning to 5 or 6 p.m. at night, Memorial Day to Labor Day. We will not be competing with any other local businesses. Tourist friendly. We will be adding a much needed activity to the town for children of all ages. All ages. We get all ages. The town needs attractions that are family friendly to market to families with children as a premier vacation destination. An aqua park addition to the town will do just that. We will also be attracting people from neighboring communities. These are customers for all the other businesses in town now. Parents tend to drop their older kids off to play, and then they go to lunch. They shop locally. I know this is what happens in Stone Harbor. Parents of younger children may stay and watch, and then the whole family will go to dinner. They're going to end up eating across the street or downtown instead of heading back to their own town for a meal. These are bonus customers for Margate. Public access to the bay is another big one. Everyone can visit the beach. Not everyone can visit the bay. Currently, the bay is almost a members-only club. Those people that own bayfront homes and those people that have a boat docked at a marina are the only people that can access the bay and enjoy its beauty, its water, and its wildlife. Our aqua park will allow access to that bay life. Tourists get to see the occasional pod of dolphins swim by in the ocean, but how many of those people have seen an osprey on its nest, or an otter frolicking in the back bay, a duck and its ducklings swimming in a line, a great blue heron stalking a minnow in the low tide marsh? I bet not a lot of them. We're also going to be resident friendly. Everything that our park provides to our tourists, we will also be providing to our resident children. I'm on the school board in Stone Harbor. I have 3 little kids. Together we have 6 children. We know what it's like to live in a town that doesn't have a lot to do. It will be one more activity for our local school kids to do in the summer. One more place they can go to have good, clean, safe, outdoor fun. Our business hours will not be disturbing the neighboring residents or businesses with any off-hour noise. Our commitment to keeping the waterfront and the view unobstructed with no buildings in our plans should allow the residents across the street to stay confident that their view will remain intact. Exercise. This is a big one. I'm not going to go into all the great statistics I have on childhood obesity, but it is my personal priority to keep my children active, myself and my children. It is good for the mind, and it is good for the body. This aqua park will be a massive dose of exercise, masked with splashes, smiles, laughter, and good, clean, safe outdoor fun. Exercise is a huge benefit the park will provide. We don't even have to tell the kids that they're exercising. They don't have to know. They will sleep better at night, I promise. Tom and I are committed to the children. Like I said, ours and yours. We're committed to the business community, and we are committed to helping make Margate even better than it already is, for residents and tourists alike. We are confident that we can accomplish this goal with great respect for the community and its laws, the environment, and the neighboring businesses and homes. We are confident that we will do it correctly, with experience and wholesome motives to drive us in our Island Aqua Park Margate project. We can't thank you enough for your time tonight. If there's any questions, we are happy to answer them.
John, any questions?
Yes, Mayor, please. As far as,
Put it on.
oh, Ridgeline, okay, sorry. I'm confused. What are your plans for life safety? Are there lifeguards manning?
Absolutely.
How
yes.
many will you have when, what you're presenting to us, would it be what's similar to what's in Stone Harbor?
It's similar, but it's on a different scale. So
When you say
we
a
are-
different scale?
I'd like to start by telling you that we have just recently acquired the second property. So our plans and our development are now back into the preliminary stages of design, because we added a second location, because that second location has a fixed pier, because that second location has some other complications with the removal of docks and pilings. And so what we had originally proposed scale-wise is changing a little bit. What we're thinking right now preliminarily is to have at least a dozen lifeguards out there at all times. There are, and you might be able to see
Everyone has
some
to
of
wear a
these.
life jacket also.
Right.
Adults, kids, everyone. It's just the rule. No one's allowed on without a life jacket, which is,
Right,
Okay.
they're on the water, but
So there-
also, you.
There will be
if there needs-
stationed,
If anyone needs aid, if kids hit heads or whatever
Right.
happens, and you have to control crowds, I'm sure, if you have a lot of kids there, you need control.
Absolutely.
So you address that.
Yes.
The other question I have, what I see on that poster board there, it looks, how do you fill, I know it's filled with air. Is there a noise issue? Is it a continuous run
No.
pump?
It's
Do you
not.
bring in a compressor? How do you?
no. It's basically, it's a small pump that we run out with a big hose. And you fill it, depending on, there's a lot of air, but there's not a lot of pressure. Now, a lot of that depends on weather. Like if you have a quick change in weather and it gets colder,
It
then we have to
deflates.
put air in it and things
Right.
like that. But it's not a constant,
So for noise for the neighborhood,
No.
because we have a lot of homeowners
it
across.
would be nothing like that. It would be, it's just,
it's not even a once a day
It's like when
thing.
someone blows up a raft. It's that pump, that type of pump.
All right, the last question I have, I know you observed the property that you own, and you know that we at low tide have shallow water there. How does that affect?
So we have an application currently. It has not been submitted yet. We are waiting on some soil testing, which just came through, that they are going to start that in the next 2 weeks. But we are submitting an application to the NJDEP for dredging. So we will be dredging the entire thing.
Okay, thank you for answering the questions.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your presentation.
If I might ask, how do you get out to it? How do you ferry your
So we don't. We
patrons
do
out
that
to it?
right from the bulkhead.
So they walk from the bulkhead
Well,
onto
the docks.
Now that this second property has a fixed pier,
Right.
we can get out to the fixed pier and have ramps off of that. And then what we are proposing in our preliminary design is docks. So the docks will be a perimeter docking system that will enclose the entire park. So it's the kind of docks that you see like an easy dock system that are, you put together, you can take apart, you can store them back in towards the bulkhead in the winter if you wanted to. But it would be a perimeter of docks and then ramps down to the docks, so they could walk around the docks and then get out in several different places.
And where will you be collecting the money? Where do you collect the money?
So we're calling it a ticket counter, where what we have in Stone Harbor, we call a HUD. It's an actual building with a roof and such. But here, it doesn't look like that's going to be an option. So what we will do is try and retain that grandfathered fixed pier and do some kind of ticket counter on that pier.
Could you enlighten me on time frame, please?
I would love to.
Okay.
So our goal is to be open by spring of 2019. That is an aggressive goal, but one that we think we might be able to accomplish. We are working towards it with full steam ahead. So anything that we can possibly do to accomplish that goal, we are going to do, I assure you. If worse comes to worse and we absolutely can't do that, worst case scenario would be 2020.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mayor, one last question. I know it's deflatable, how long would it take to remove the structure itself in need of impending storms or hurricanes or high winds or whatever?
So high winds or
occurrence might
storms we
happen?
don't remove.
What we do is, basically, what we have the issue in Stone Harbor, because you get those offshore winds, a lot of times in June, that's why we kind of, that's the only like month that's the real worry. But what you do is you deflate it. Our pumps will actually work the other way. Once you deflate it, it becomes heavy. And then it stays down, right. See that when you were talking about the dock, it's actually, you have walkways that go from the dock to the actual aqua park, like throughout the whole thing. And that perimeter dock helps hold it all together.
But even in a hurricane situation like we witnessed during 2012 with hurricanes, Superstorm Sandy, high winds, and we just witnessed Fort Michael in the Panhandle.
We do have the option of removing things if we have
Right.
to.
If
And
I
how
had
long
to-
would it take?
If we have to, we have
Right, I could probably do it, the whole thing, probably do it in a couple of days.
Okay.
And there would be it wouldn't be the way I would do it at the end of the season. It would be a rush,
Right.
just get it out, and some stuff would probably get beat up and things, but if you have to do that.
One more question.
Kurt?
So I have one more question.
Sure.
Say things are going great, and this thing is like the hit that I think it will be. At 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, how many people could we expect, and how fast are we getting them from, the waiting area, if you will? Is there a waiting area?
There's
Where-
usually not like a mass rush at 9 a.m.
Okay.
9 a.m. if you have ever been to the Maury's Water Park or something, they have an early bird special to try and get people in that early because it's very hard to get your kids up and ready in bathing suits and sunscreen and
Right.
by 8:30 to leave the house in the summer. So all of that is a little unlikely that we would have a mass crowd waiting at 9 o'clock. The peak hours are usually 11 to 3, and it kind of trickles in, and then gets big.
Okay.
And the waiting area, as we see it, because there is not a lot of upland and all of that is sidewalk, would be on our docks.
Right, okay. Answer my question. Thank you.
How about one there?
Scott?
What are you gonna do with boat slips that are docked with Sunset?
So there's several boat slips. There are boat slips that go out onto the docks. So if you take the dock all the way out and there's boat slips to the left and right, those are going to be removed. There are boat slips,
Both sides?
yes. Those are going to be removed. And then there are some boat slips that are up along the bulkhead that we would keep.
You mentioned bulkhead, are you going to replace it?
Ooh, well, we just had a bulkhead conversation not 5 minutes ago.
The whole bulkhead?
I don't know that I can answer that question.
That's the one that's shot, the Goshaw's part.
What was your question, Jim? I
They
didn't hear.
replaced the bulkhead, the Goshaw's bulkhead that's shot.
Right.
Or
Okay.
city's trying, should I explain it now? City's trying to put together grant monies and has a master engineering design plan for a bulkhead. The bulkhead was originally built by the city of Margate back in 1928 or 1929. I had asked Ms. Day and Mr. Tice for their contact information. We're going to be having a meeting with the waterfront owners along Amherst Avenue to discuss how we're going to go forward and get the bulkhead replaced, because it is shot.
Out of respect for the conversation I just had with him 5 minutes ago, I didn't want to be the one to,
Yeah.
I didn't know whether that cat
So-
was out of the bag.
We're actively pursuing that. The fact is, we have an engineer working on the plans now, even on the potential application to the state. So it's a hot topic.
Okay. Thank you very much for a good presentation. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you for your time.
Could you make it clear that if I didn't understand, somebody might have said it and I didn't hear it, make it clear that they have to go before the planning board.
Right. Right. This is
Public
just an informal meeting.
Correct.
They
We
haven't
understand that.
applied yet, is that correct?
Yes, we
Yeah,
understand that.
No, we
So there'll be
understand.
planning board
This
meetings,
was-
they have to
we
go to the
wanted to do it.
DEP. So, okay. Just for the informational for the public.
The public will have opportunity to speak, of course, the planning board.
Absolutely. This is more,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you, guys. Have a safe trip
And
home.
ladies.
Do you want me to step back, Steve?
But not here.
No.
When you get to, that's why I said, when you get to the meetings, you'll be able to ask all
I'll
the
talk about
questions
it
you
at
want.
Well, no, they can speak at this meeting.
You can ask later, not to these people.
Chris, what's
Right.
his
Well,
name?
these people, I need to ask a question to these people, so my question is,
Yeah, write it down.
I'd like the opportunity, other people have come here to get some
At,
questions
at,
answered.
after the department head reports, there will be a public comment where you can ask the questions. If we can't answer it, we'll get the answers for you.
We can't address our objections to it at this point?
No.
I'd like to be able to ask a question, though, but to make a comment without them here is somewhat
Well,
superfluous.
I'm,
I'd like to know about parking, I think everybody else would.
okay, and I understand that,
Outside.
ma'am. Okay.
Let me address that. The pier portion of the property was just acquired. The project is back in design phase to address parking, to address all issues with respect to access. It hasn't been worked out yet, so unfortunately, the public's not going to get definitive answers today as to those types of questions. With the addition of the additional property, we're right back, kind of starting now with those
That's
issues
fine.
to address those issues.
But let me assure the public, you'll have plenty of opportunities to ask whatever questions you want, as has been in the past. Okay?
And don't steal my pen.
Thank you again, folks. Thank you.
Still think some of us would like to register objections to it.
What's the address?
You will certainly have that
Yeah.
opportunity, sir. Okay, at this point, we will move to department head reports. Chief Wilson, why don't we start with you today?
Everything's great in the police department as always. I just want to remind people, the Atlantic City Marathon is this Sunday, and there will be some infringement on traffic flow, especially down this end of town, along Amherst Avenue and Monroe and Atlantic, so please be aware of the signage and the officers that will be guiding you. Other than that, we're good.
Chief, what are the times of that?
The parking restriction is 6 a.m. until 4 p.m.
Okay.
So the marathon's usually over by 1 or 2, but you start it starts at 9, I believe, 8 or 9, and usually the faster runners are through here pretty quickly, but we have stragglers up until 1 o'clock, if not later.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Deeney?
The only thing I want to mention is that we have been asked by Verizon to modify a lease that we have with Verizon for, on our water tower. That's at Benson. I referred the request to Fred, who's done some investigation and contact with Verizon, and he and I have been discussing it. I've asked the representative for Verizon today by email for some additional information from a legal standpoint so that we don't have to do the legal research. And I will be bringing you some kind of a recommendation probably in the next couple of weeks with respect to Verizon's request. And I just want to alert you to that.
Thank you, Rich. Ed?
You need me to go over everything again, or are you already good? I pretty much, everything was covered in the capital meeting, everyone should be cognizant of there is construction on Winchester Avenue from Granville to Exeter, so try to avoid that area if at all possible.
Thank you. Ed Roger.
Thank you, Mayor. The new zoning ordinances are in effect, and there's been a rush to construct and demolish existing structures. So it's working out very well. A lot more open space is being provided as they're getting rid of some of these garages. The bike rack project, which is a federal grant, Ed's Delaware office is working on that. I believe they're a week behind schedule, but there's a lot of paperwork to catch up on. It's a very difficult project, but hopefully by next summer, all the bike racks will be installed in Margate and Ventnor, and it'll look fantastic. The year-end contracts will be coming up for bidding for the calendar year 2019. I've been working with Public Works and everyone else to get that going. That pretty much concludes that.
Thank you, Roger. Jim?
Yes, good afternoon. We had 27 demos so far as of today's date. It's a little bit off from last year. 11 house raises, 1 house moved. That's the one at Kenyon 202. They're taking a house away. And then with the construction site lots, we just had them take down the black fence and said, if you're not going to develop the lot, just put it back to the natural state. You see Jerome Avenue and Ventnor Avenue, they've done that. They weren't going to develop them. And the one guy had sold the property to somebody else and just told him just to put grass seed down and keep the grass cut. I think that's the best idea than just leaving up those ugly looking black fences.
It's nicer.
I think they look a lot better. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Jim. Frank?
Yeah, we will be flushing fire hydrants starting the 29th of October. This past week, we had to repair a water main on South Granville Avenue. There was a weak spot in it when we were tapping the water main for the new building there, and it actually blew a hole in it. We have the Lucy deck, the snack bar deck, under construction, which is going very well. We're ripping off all the planking and everything seems to be going smooth. Parkway fountains, one of them needed to be repaired. The repairs were made, they were painted, and they're going to be covered on Monday or Tuesday if the weather's good. We also are putting up the holiday lighting out at the ball field, and it'll go on our streetscapes. Also, we've been winterizing everything. We got our dump trucks ready for the snow coming this winter. And we also winterized all the properties and sprinkler systems throughout Margate. That's all I have.
Thank you, Frank. Scott?
Just a couple things. As you know, we're working with the Lamberti's situation in that bulkhead there. We've made some progress. I've asked that it be scheduled, go into an executive session so we can negotiate terms and discuss some of the options we have regarding that. But I think we've made real progress with the Lamberti's. Also talking about progress is the 8 Exeter Court. As you know, we may be bringing in special counsel to handle that, a foreclosure lawyer. I have been in contact with the banks. They did have some issues regarding the process of their foreclosure, which I've enlightened them on how I think they can fix them. And I've told them, look, either we're, as you probably are aware, they have, the owner of Exeter Court has obtained a permit to fix their foundation. But what will happen is they'll fix the foundation and then maybe it won't progress. What we'd like to do is possibly get this in front of a chancery judge, or possibly with the 2 lenders who have a substantial loans on these properties, and there is equity there, to force the issue. Either finish it in one continuous effort, or sell it, or demolish it, or do something so that the neighborhood can have some peace and resolve this problem properly. So we're making some progress there too. Slow progress, unfortunately, but it is some progress. That's what I have.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Dan?
Thank you, Mayor. Things are really good in the fire department at the present time. We just wrapped up a really great fire prevention week. We had a number of demonstrations and presentations that we made that were a huge success, and we thankfully have been, with the help of other city people and officials, we've been able to post a lot of useful information on the city webpage and on Facebook regarding fire prevention and fire safety materials. If time permits, the business administrator has allowed us to possibly show a brief 5-minute video at the end called Close Before You Doze. If we do not get to that today, it is posted on our website, right on the news information, and let me tell you, it is powerful as far as the information that you can get from this video. Other than that, if anybody needs anything, smoke detectors, fire safety information, help with a fire safety inspection at your home, please feel free to call the fire department. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. John, you have anything?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to mention one thing and thank Dan for all his work during this past several weeks with the fire safety in the school, the presentations they made. And we see it every night in our household. Our little 9-year-old and 5-year-old granddaughters drop to the floor, roll, and do what they have to do. So all that training is very important, and it's great public awareness. Back in August, Chief Wolfson and myself sat down with Superintendent Baruffi at the school system and the president of the board and a select committee of board members. Kathy Horn was there, and the school board had concerns about police presence. And what I want to do is compliment Chief Wolfson and the entire team, Captain Hankinson, and all our officers and rank and file policemen and policewomen that have been going to the school for drop-off and pick-up every day and have been doing walkthroughs to school, parking the cars there, seeing a police presence as I've dropped off my grandchildren. To see that is very important for the general public to understand that our police department is out in our community doing their job and really protecting our kids. And it's a great thing to see at 8 o'clock in the morning, several police officers in the park, in the playground with the kids. And again, that's community policing at its best, and our kids are growing up seeing and understanding what our police personnel do. So again, Chief, I want to thank you for that, and I know that Dr. Baruffi sent me an email on Tuesday stating that both our principal at Ty, Audrey Becker, and our principal at Ross School, Ryan Gaskell, are very pleased with the presence. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Mark?
Nothing to report, Mike.
Okay, I'd like to congratulate two groups. First, Sustainable New Jersey, in cooperation with Longport and Ventnor, have received a HUB grant to $4,500 to purchase a portable water filler. It's a refill station for plastic bottles, and the philosophy behind this is hopefully it'll be one more step in creating less plastic. Also, the city has received a $16,000 grant from New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism. That is to help promote the city of Margate. Thank you for that, Dawn, for finding us that. And very interesting, when I got the letter the other day, the acting commissioner of the Division of Travel and Leisure was born and raised in Margate. So we have a friend up there, I hope. So congratulations to you, to all those people. And that's it for me at this point. For those of you who are interested, we'll open for public comment. You have 3 minutes to comment on anything that was discussed here today. Is there any public comment? If there is, please come to the microphone, your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Mark Ulch, 20 South Decatur Avenue. Am I right in assuming that we cannot ask any questions regarding the aqua park, or can we ask questions to try to?
We may not have the answers, Mark.
No, I
certainly
understand that.
We spoke about it, absolutely.
You know, they had said that they're not going to compete with any other businesses around. So does that mean well, you wouldn't know the answer, but as far as selling like water or sunscreen, things of that nature, would that, or would that?
My original impression was I heard somewhere they weren't gonna do food and those types of objects. Now you're talking sunscreen. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But we'll find out for you.
All right,
Absolutely.
bathroom facilities?
I don't know about that either.
Yeah, I know, in the water, yeah.
We've all been there, Mark.
Yeah, you're right. So they're just going to use, I guess, the platforms or the walkways that they have to go out onto the site. How about any type of capacity? You know, in other words, these types of questions, I understand, are for a later time. But when would we be able to find out, and would that be for the planning board or for the planning board?
Yes.
Okay,
They would have to.
They
make
have to go to
formal
the
present-
DEP.
Right.
Then they'll come to the planning board.
okay.
So everybody will have an opportunity.
Okay, will that be posted well enough in advance as far?
Always.
It always is, Mark.
Okay. You know, and you had asked the question about inflating the tubes and that. I don't know whether we really got a definitive answer on how long it would take, something like that, and
That's a question you could,
would that
ask
also be
them.
for the planning board, or?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
And also how long it would take to actually do it? I know they kind of went over it gradually, or
Well,
quickly.
this was basic information,
Okay.
that's all.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Emily Zaydan, 6 South Decatur Avenue. I have a question about some of the construction and demolition, so I'm not sure if maybe Jim can answer this. A couple of the intersections, especially, I think it's Cedar Grove, and the next one would be Union. They're draining water constantly off of the lots after the demolition. It's turned into such a sewage area when you're trying to cross the streets. All the, the drains are backed up with dirt, concrete, debris, leaves, you name it. One, are they allowed to keep that draining of the water in a lot 24/7? I'm not really sure. And number two, can the city or whomever come occasionally every couple of days and try to clean up that mess? I mean, because even when it's bone dry, a lot of us, we can't even cross some of those streets because of the amount of water and debris that are in the intersections.
Commissioner Amadeo will address it.
Very, very good questions, first off. First off, what you see, the drains, they're doing pools.
Yes.
Most of those houses have small splash pools.
Yes.
So that's a 24-hour operation till everything cures. It's part of construction. You're absolutely right, and Jimmy will address it tomorrow, that the contractors are responsible. They usually pump into a bladder, which is supposed to prevent the sand from
They're not.
going, but a lot of times it bleeds through because our beach sand is so it's like sugar, goes through. But Jimmy will address it. We'll
Great.
have code enforcement
Yeah.
look
It's just
at
a
it.
couple of
The
intersections,
contractors are
yeah.
responsible. Now, it's funny you said that because yesterday I walked back from City Hall, or from Scott's office, back home, and when I was on Thurlow, it had the same condition, but they built a ramp, the contractor built a ramp
Okay.
out of plywood, so
Right.
nobody had to walk through. Everywhere else, you have to
I
walk
mean,
through
yeah,
the water.
you've got situations
So
like
we will address
on
it.
Atlantic Avenue, they just knocked down the house, I think it's Atlantic and Sumner. And I'm lucky that I had a flashlight with me last night walking the dog. The whole sidewalk in a section is totally broken up and all crap. I mean, if I didn't see that, I would have landed into the sidewalk. And they don't really have it barricaded sufficiently. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
We will look into it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, Jim.
thank you.
And I'd just like to compliment whomever on putting the lovely flowers at the barricade
Maury.
at Ventnor and Washington Avenue. It's so much nicer than the ugly yellow. Hopefully, we could keep it looking that way all winter.
Another home
With
run.
winter flowers.
You got Frank.
For the record, it
Thank
was
you.
Maury's idea, and Frank's guys did an excellent job
Yeah, it looks really
on the
nice.
layout.
It does.
Thank you.
Great job, guys.
Say that again, Mark. will you?
My name's David Gelman. I'm a 23-year resident at 7607 Atlantic Avenue, corner of Atlantic and Claremont, and thank you for putting the sign back up on Claremont. And I just wanted to register my objection to the water park. I don't want to see Margate become Wildwood, and that's what I feel it was happening between the little golf course, and now you want to do this. I'm also a boater and have leased space in Margate for the past 23 years. Right now, I'm at Blue Water Marina, have been there for 3 years, and it will directly affect the landlord there. At the last meeting, he was here with his lawyer, but never got into the water park at that point, so it wasn't addressed. That's the owner of Blue Water Marina. So, okay, just wanted to voice
Thanks,
my
and
objection to it. And the parking is a major concern, because even now, you can't park down there.
You also, as we said before, when it gets to the planning board, you'll have a chance to.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cynthia 11203 North Vendome. I wanted to know whether or not the township has made any progress in the lease with Lucy.
We were in communications with Lucy, trying to set up a meeting to discuss the extension of their lease.
Would you keep us informed?
When something happens, it's sort of
When does the lease expire?
December of 2019, so we have plenty of time.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
How are you? Nick Palmisano, 510 North Claremont. And I know it's an informal presentation, but I want to support that water park. Man, I think it's what Margate needs. I think the golf course is a great thing. I think that if you couple, a day at the water park, head over to the mini golf course, you're bringing people in that wouldn't have come here. That's money in town, and it's another amenity for the town. And, I don't want to get nostalgic, but, years ago you could go to the bay, you could go to Angler's Roost and Captain Andy's and Roselle's and Scott's. You could rent boats, you could get on the Duke of Fluke. I mean, we still have the Keeper, but there's not nearly as many opportunities to get out and to get out on the bay. So, yeah, I just want to say I support that. And then the second point, Mr. Mayor, you said something about a grant for promoting Margate. Was that what that was?
Sure, yeah.
Is that for promoting tourism? Is it for promoting, living in Margate? Any of those things?
Anything we really want to do to promote the city.
I mean, I think there's an opportunity because, I think it says it in your bio on the website about, making Margate a place, that you want to lure people, not lure, but attract year-round residents, families to live here. I think that's an opportunity to create a marketing campaign, and to center on the aspects that Margate has to attract people to live here. I moved back to Margate from Ventnor. I moved here because of the school system. And I know a good handful of people that have done the same thing. Sold houses at losses, renting places when, they had owned before. And they did it because of the school system. I mean, it's the lifestyle that we have here, but it's also the school system. So with a grant to promote Margate, I think there's an opportunity to do some targeted marketing to people who may be in the market for homes in the general Atlantic County area, and to put ads out there that says, here's what we have in Margate. We got blue ribbon schools in addition to living by the beach and having a walkable town and a walkable lifestyle. So whenever that comes up, I would love to be a part of that conversation as to how we can market Margate and how we can make it more attractive to year-round residents who make Margate their home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Very good.
Luke Duff, 405 North Douglas Avenue. I also want to support the water park and any other things that are coming to the city. I think it drives up revenue. I'm in favor of it. All the businesses on the bay there. You bring your kids in, drop them off, you can go out to dinner, do whatever it is. It's going to bring people here. It helps support the police, the fire, everything. It makes it encompass it a little bit better. Plus, it'll drive up beach revenue also, because who's to say you don't come to the beach for a day, hit the water park, whatever it is, stop at local businesses. I think it's great for our community. It's what we need. more people here, the better it is, the safer it is also. If there's more year-round residents, there's more people keeping an eye on houses and everything like that. So thank you for your time and all your support.
Thank you for your comments.
Brian Duffy, 312 North Claremont Avenue. I'm going to just echo what those guys just said. 100% support for the water park. My daughter went down to Stone Harbor. My wife and daughter went down to Stone Harbor this summer for a birthday party. They had a blast. It was a great place to have your kids go, be active. They're outside enjoying the bay. It's a safe environment, and the question about the parking, 100%, that's a good question about it. My thing is, when you go down to Stone Harbor, it's all on-street parking. There's no parking lot there. You got to park 5 blocks away and walk. You know what? That's healthy. That's a good lifestyle. And in Margate, in this town, you should want to encourage people to walk, encourage people to ride their bikes. I try not to move my vehicle all summer long if I don't have to. That's a good thing. And I just feel that another amenity like that with the golf course, that's good business. And, you know, I always think about the guy who used to work on the place across the street, and he always fought for good business in this town. And that's kind of what I want to see here, too. So keep up the good work. Yeah, you did, didn't you? So keep up the good work, and that's a good thing.
Thank you, Brian. Any other public comment?
Sewell, 22 West Drive, following up on the remarks of our esteemed Commissioner Amadeo, I would like to remind him of the immortal words of Pogo. We have met the enemy, and he is us. Got to realize that that Blue Ribbon School produced one of the most sociopathic beheading monsters in the Middle East, Zulfi Hoxha. Look it up, Google it. And that family, 4 of them, there were 2 other brothers and a sister, cost Margate taxpayers over $1 million. But let's get back to the point. I think it's wrong to put too much faith, although I have tremendous faith in our chief and I have no complaints whatsoever, but to have faith in police security to actually be secure, I think is somewhat misplaced. If you look at that Florida case where there was a police officer on the scene, on site, and it didn't stop. And if you were following the international news this week in the Crimea, where a student went in and knocked off, I think, 19 other students. So, I mean, a lot of the threat can be internal. And that's a serious issue in and of itself, particularly when civics is not taught, where there is not a sense of patriotism. Insofar, I believe that every class should start with the Pledge of Allegiance, not just the beginning. And I believe that patriotism should be taught religiously, even though you can't teach religion today. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned. We will begin our public meeting at 5 minutes. That's a good idea.